and welcome to episode 2 of Celebration of Student Recognition and Achievement. This podcast is brought to you by myself, Mr. Novak, and Mr. Torciello, and we are happy to celebrate and recognize 2 different students with us today. Mr. Torciello, do you want to introduce our guest today?
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much, and welcome to the second episode. We are joined here with senior Maria LaPietra and junior Nick Hart. These 2 were nominated by Dr. Escamilla and Miss Jenis. Dr. Escamilla nominated Maria, and Miss Jenis, yes, clap it up. And Miss Jenis nominated Nick Hart. A few kind words that they had said about you guys. So Maria Escamilla had said that you're just so wonderful, hardworking, sweet, kind, genuine, that you're going to be the teacher that inspires so many students to do the same thing that you do in the classroom. And Miss Jenis said that you are the kindest person that she's ever met and the bright spot of her day.
Nice. It's good to hear that.
Some powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So we're gonna open this up here. We're just gonna ask you guys few questions. You guys can both answer them. Nick, we'll just start with you. And I'm gonna hype you up here a little bit, Nick. So there's probably no one else that sees you more than Coach T or I, just because all basketball season, all volleyball season, I see you in class, he sees you in class, etc. So 3 years now, we've gathered a good sense of who you are, and we've seen you grow. And you are well known in the school, and you're a great example and bring unbelievable energy. And we literally hear nothing but positive energy and positive things about you from teachers and other students. And so clearly you've grown into this amazing person, and you're obviously going to continue growing. With that being said, has there been a defining moment or maybe story that has helped you recognize who you are? And like I said, maybe a story that you want to share?
I think it was, like the first month of me moving here from Cleveland. My plan on coming into school was just to keep my head low, don't talk to anyone, get through high school as fast as I can and get to college. But that kind of changed when when people started talking to me and I realized how, because I thought it was like High School Musical, you get bullied, your lunch money gets taken, paper balls get thrown into and stuff in class and stuff. But
were you prepared for that?
I was so prepared for that. I was ready to just get through the high school experience as fast as I could. But it changed when people were like nice, welcoming, warm to me, and talking to me. It made me feel at home from home.
Could you give a shout out to a teacher or some staff member here in the building, and even a fellow student, someone who really stands out as extending that hand and welcoming you into the environment?
Dr. Escamilla, she was the first teacher so I got in trouble in her class. I was very disruptive, and she sent a note home to my uncle, and he told me something. He said, if a teacher didn't care, they would just let you do it and send you to the office immediately without telling the person at home. That really hit me, and I thought about it. I was like, that means she really does care about me. To send that home to me changed my behavior, and I thank her for that a lot because it made me see something different.
Thanks so much for that. That's a cool story, and I did not know that was your initial thought coming into high school. So that's crazy.
You can say that things did not go according to plan.
It did not,
in a very good way.
Yeah. A lot of things changed.
And Maria, while we're on that subject, I guess I would want to ask you the same thing.
So probably my defining moments are going to be, again, like freshman year, first entering high school. One of the biggest ones was freshman year I made JV lacrosse, but then I ended up being like a captain and meeting all these juniors, and I just didn't expect to make so many friends so quickly. And there was I had a lot of stuff going on at home freshman year especially, so coming in and having that light spot of like sports and whatever was amazing. And at the end of the season, I got pulled up to play varsity in their state games, and I actually got minutes in their final game, and that meant so much to me to play for like such a great program and such a team, and it really inspired me that I can be as good as these girls I've looked up to, like Claire Dodo and people like that who kind of set the tone for the program. And it really inspired me to work super hard and kind of get where I am today and want to be a collegiate athlete. I've wanted to do that my whole life, and this showed me that it was really possible. Like I could compete with these girls that were going to William & Mary and going wherever they were going. And so sports has definitely been like my lifeline in high school for sure.
And you've accomplished that now, right? You're committed to go to college for lacrosse?
Yeah, I'm committed to TCNJ. I'm really
Congratulations, that's
excited.
awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, they're Division 3. They're ranked 10 right now, which is really good. 10th in the nation, so I'm excited to play there. I think it's going to be really fun.
That's really awesome. And so the same question then, or same follow-up question that we gave to Nick, is there anybody in particular that you found from freshman year until now, a teacher, staff member, fellow student, a fellow athlete or a teammate that really made that impression on you to help push you to be who you are now?
I would honestly say Miss Kenya. She taught me in AP World my freshman year. She had me for Tomorrow's Teachers my junior year, and then she has me this year in Holocaust. And she was the first teacher I felt like I really had a relationship with, and one that carried through multiple years. And she just like always checks in on me and was really flexible about certain things and just pushes me to be better. And she's a really good role model because she's also a history teacher, which is what I want to do. And so I look up to her a lot for that.
Yeah, so clearly, I mean, hey, I knew you were a good person from the moment you said you wanted to be a social studies teacher. But do you think that Ms. Kenya is the one who inspired you to go into social studies, or is this a subject you already had interest in and she kind of solidifies that?
I would say that obviously I've always had such a love for history, love for social studies. It's always been so interesting to me. But my junior year, when I was doing student teaching for the first time, I was like, I want to do elementary school. Like, that's where I want to be. And then I did that, like, for student teaching. I was like, ooh, can't teach repeated addition for 20 years and be, like, fully happy with that. So then I was like, okay, like, let me tap into these social studies teachers that I've loved and connected with so much. Like, even Miss Corley, like, they were such role models to me.
That's awesome.
And so totally inspired me to want to do that. Yeah.
That's great.
Love that. Thank you for sharing. Real quick, just to shift some focus back to you now, Nick. I recall you saying last year in driver's ed, we were just doing like introduction stuff. And I remember there was something that you said that stood out to me. And I would just like to have you elaborate on that. And that was one of your favorite things to do, or something that you love, is to get people out of their comfort zone. And I see that firsthand for sure. Where do you think that stems from?
Well, in middle school, I was a very reserved person. I didn't talk much. I didn't like communicate with anybody really. And that really made me feel like out of the picture from everybody else. Like, they did stuff outside of school, but just because I didn't talk to them, I wasn't really with that. So I was always at home. Mm-hmm. So I feel like there's other people like that, and I don't want them to go through the same thing I did. I want them to, because I feel like it would translate later in life. Because if you're able to open up to somebody, be friends with them, it could help you or benefit you down the road. You could have a friend to talk to or anything.
And how do you feel like you do that?
Well, first, like talking to them, friendship and all that other stuff. But like, I ask questions about like, hobbies or stuff, passions. And well, once you ask about like a passion or something, that's when they start to open up, because they talk about something that they really love and like and all that stuff. And then it just
happens from there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Maria, when, we're talking about getting out of the comfort zone, when was the first time that you really felt in high school that you broke out of your own comfort zone?
Definitely junior year, like freshman, sophomore year with COVID and everything, like everyone's wearing masks. Nobody really talked to each other. Yeah. Like it was so like everything was quiet, and you would sit at the end of class for 10 minutes and literally sit there in complete silence. So junior year was almost like starting high school all over again, because now everything's normal. Football games was huge. Like it just kind of being a little bit more extroverted, because you could be like, you're allowed to talk to everyone and be within 5 feet of them and whatever. And so yeah, that was definitely when I totally came out of my shell and made this whole big new group of friends and kind of started that whole normal high school experience. Yeah.
So a really quick concept that I'm really picking up between the two of you is that you're both leaders, and you lead in very unique ways. Nick, I see you during pep rallies in the hallways. You're one of the most jovial, extroverted people that I've ever seen in my entire life. And you have a very... you have a contagious energy about you. In the locker room, you're always the person who breaks down the huddle. On the basketball court, you're always the guy who's clapping their hands and trying to get teammates to pick themselves up. On the volleyball court, the same exact thing. And Maria, from what I'm gathering from you, is that your leadership modality is really like by example. You know, you're somebody who kind of embodies that model student. So how do you two go about the idea of being a leader, and you know, how do you try and continue this path to try and inspire others to be a leader such as yourselves?
Yeah.
Well, like taking on that role, because when someone looks up to someone, I think it's easier to follow in that footstep. So I act like maybe like a big brother to people, you know, like show them the way, show them the path and stuff. I lead by example sometimes and stuff, but like bringing that energy to people, it, like you say, it's contagious. It can like give them a reason to also do that and like be a good person, all that stuff.
Yeah, you mentioned leading by example and also model student. Like I get that a lot, and it's just because like I work really hard, and so that kind of gives me this reputation that people do kind of maybe respect what I have to say, or at least listen to it, you know, minimum. But one of the biggest things I believe in is everyone's deserving of the same base level of respect. Like you can be closer with other people than you are, but like you should never be outwardly rude to someone or go out of your way to maybe like make their day worse. So if people lead by example based on that, that would be great. But yeah, I always treat people with respect, and that's huge for me. And if I see maybe one of my friends not doing that, I'll just be like, hey, like, can we stop? Like, it's enough. And kind of just move in a different direction, you know?
So listening to just both of you speak here, I feel like you both speak so like just eloquently. Like it's easy to understand, it's mature, it's wise. And so with that being said, and only because we're already 12 minutes in here and we can't keep it too long, is there a message that you want to share with one final message of just like I don't know if it's word of advice to Randolph High School and or anyone that listens to this podcast? Any final message you want to share?
My message is you have to try something different than the norm. If you stay in the norm, you may be happy, but at some point you will feel like you could have did more. Like trying a new hobby, sport, or meeting a new person. I feel like you should try something out of the ordinary.
Yeah, that's huge. I think a quote that's always stuck with me is it never gets easier, you just get better. So, like, one of the biggest things for me is hard work. And if you want to get something done, like, don't just sit there and complain. Like, you can do it. Like, it's in you. You can totally do it. Believing in yourself and having that self-confidence is huge in high school.
That was beautiful from both of you. If I could have a T-shirt that said "Do something other than the norm," that would be great. I want that like neon letters in my classes. I love that. But I completely agree with the two of you. You guys have been fantastic on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right, that concludes our episode 2 of celebrating student recognition and success. So thank you guys so much for coming on, and we really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Of course.